On this episode of Saints Happy Hour podcast, me and Kevin are going to answer all your Saints-related draft questions now that the Saints have done their 2024 draft. We're going to tell you if it's great, if it's bad, whatever. Your weirdest, craziest questions, we got all the answers. Thomas, hit that intro.
Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. This one's special for the YouTubes. If you're finding us on YouTube, rate us, review us, subscribe to our channel, and find us wherever you get your podcast in your RSS feed. And we'd appreciate giving us a follow there as well. I got Kevin with me. I got Thomas with me running the show back in Poland. Today, Kevin, the draft just ended for the Saints. So we're going to do a special mailbag dedicated to only draft-related questions. Some of them are like straightforward football questions, but I think and I hope a couple of them are going to get really weird. So, Thomas, what do you got for us?
You're going to get really annoying, too, I suspect.
All right, let's start. First question from Illinois, the Canal Street Chronicles OG. He asks, what is the least amount of money you'd accept as a UDFA bonus to suit up for the Saints and get tackled by Demario Davis or Cam?
That's a great question. Like this.
I'm getting tackled one time?
You got one time.
I guess one time.
Let's see. Hang on, let me look at my... Do I have that still printed out somewhere?
You know your HSA, your health insurance.
I'm looking to see if I have my home mortgage still on the thing. Okay, so let's see. So that's what, and then I would want to get the car done. So I would say $125,000.
Oh no, 200 for me, 220 minimum because I only have one good arm.
Well, 125 is a lot in terms of UDFA money, right?
It's a lot. I'd want the maximum. So like you're talking like I think the most they ever give is like 220, 250. Like that's I got it because the thing is, if I fall on the good side of my body, Kevin, could be catastrophic. So
right? No. I understand that. All I'm thinking of is if I'm going in there and I'm doing one day of work and I'm getting just hit one time. Yeah. If I can pay off my car and the house entirely, and then all I'm doing is I'm now essentially profiting from every paycheck I get from then on, I'll be fine.
It's kind of like it's underrated, but even after the taxes, like it would be like for me and you, it'd kind of be life changing. Like,
wait a minute.
Like,
wait, if we have to factor taxes in, then I might as well have to say 250 or whatever the max.
That's no fun. That's no fun. That's right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I took the fun out of it.
Let's say after taxes.
After taxes, like $200,000 for me and you is
after taxes. We're 125.
See, because we're not bougie like Dave and Andrew. Like, give me $200,000.
Maybe it depends on the state you live in, right?
Oh, Dave. No. Do not get me to endorse Florida. That's not happening. I'm not endorsing Florida.
I don't endorse. Texas doesn't have state income taxes, but we live in I can't gamble. I can't look at porn. It's a.
You're not connected to the grid.
I'm not connected to the grid. Like Texas is Texas is a backwater, and we don't have taxes.
Worse than Poland.
Well, I mean, come on, Tom. That's like too crazy. But okay, what's next, Thomas?
All right, next question. Next question from you boy Alan. You boy Alan asks, if they ever held the NFL draft in New Orleans, how many tourists would be murdered, and would they bring Goodell out in the Pope Mobile for his safety?
God. See, I'm not gonna get into how many people would be murdered because I love New Orleans and we have our issues there with New Orleans and infrastructure.
The old good Pope Mobile.
But I gotta say, Kevin, like Goodell, like
definite Pope Mobile.
Brother, you need a Pope Mobile for the Super Bowl this year, and brother, you need a food tester. I'm just saying. Like, we're not over any of it. Rod.
You need a detachment of people around you at just about all times.
Because here's the thing. Yes.
Because, and so I can't remember who it was. Somebody was like, oh, there'll only be 5 people at the draft. Everybody else will be partying. Wrong. I know everybody likes to think that New Orleans is just like going to be partying. But if you're telling people Roger Goodell is, first of all, you don't, never mind the influx of people that are going to come in, but you're going to have locals that will go there just to boo him.
Boo him.
You're going to get
tomatoes, throw tomatoes at him.
They are going to hit the button, the mute button, for the first 30 to 40 seconds of the draft because people are going to be screaming and chanting all sorts of words at Goodell that will not be fit. Excuse me, that will not be fit for the airwaves.
Never mind that. Never mind that. What the signs that people will have, Kevin? Whew.
Yeah, if they're not confiscating signs at the gate, you're in shit. Like,
that's right.
There's going to be some shit on there.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm saying, Raj, get a food taster for Super Bowl week. Thomas, what's next?
Okay, let's see. Next question from Jason Champagne, and he asks, with real in-game speed and movement measurements available to teams, do we see them moving away from RAS, which is based on combine data?
They're not going to move away from the combine because the combine is now a thing. It now gives the NFL Network content.
Yeah.
And content is king.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a thing that, like, the NFL is it's 12 months long.
That's right.
It's the whole calendar year. And there's always something going on, and they want to be able to take as many or get as much attention and eyeballs as possible. And the combine does that. Having said that, I would like to see numbers where these guys are running in pads. Like, I would absolutely love combine numbers where you make the guys do it in the little cutoff shirt and the shorts that they do, and then make them do it wearing a helmet and shoulder pads and whatever else they got to wear. Make them do it padded and unpadded. Put those numbers out because the combine will never go away. No, the combine isn't going away. And
the combine too, Kevin, is, and fans know this now too. Like, the combine isn't just a TV thing for the NFL Network for content. The combine is like the NFL convention, right? It's all these stuff of GMs talking to agents, talking to other GMs, getting trade ideas, tampering that is legal unless you're and most 31 teams know how to do it except for the Falcons. That you know how to tamper and not get caught, right, with contracts, because then you get in the combine and then teams kind of understand what the contracts will be. So the combine's never going away. I do think the issue with tracking data for the draft becomes not every school, I think, is going to have it. Like, if you have a guy like a Trevor Penning, right, is Northern Iowa Community College going to have the tracking data? So you're
not a community college, but I get your point.
Yeah, well, I can never remember if it's South Idaho, East Idaho, whatever. If he was good, maybe I would remember where he went to school. And
listen, every team has video people.
Yeah.
So if the MythBusters could take video footage
Yeah.
and do some scientific and math calculations and figure out how fast something is moving just by looking at video of it.
The teams.
I think they can determine or get a rough estimate of how fast, some guy from Youngstown State is running on a kickoff return or whatever.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me with the draft, Kevin, and this is something that I saw a lot of different, a couple of NFL podcasts that I listened to brought up, is that the NIL money in the last couple of years has made it to where guys that used to be 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks as juniors, they would come out and they'd be like, I'm going to the NFL, because even in the NFL, as a 4th round pick, 5th round pick, I'm getting a $250,000, $300,000 signing bonus, and I'm making actual money. Where now these big college teams will be like, hey, Kevin Held, you're going to be a 4th round pick as a guard. Here's $75,000. Just hang out in college for another year. And players are like, you know what? This is pretty cool. I'm gonna stay in college for another year and just take the $80,000 from this team or whatever. And it shrunk the sort of draftable players. So I wonder if there's gonna come a point where teams are really going to decide after pick whatever, 120, 130, or even sooner, like they're just gonna be like, these picks are devalued, and the difference between the 5th round and a UDFA, it ain't much. Either we want better picks next year in the top 100, so we're willing to trade out, or are they going to be like, sort of like the Mickey Loomis model this year with Kool-Aid, but even to a more extent, be like, hey, here's 4/5. Give me a 1/3. Because I don't care. We'll just sign a bunch of UDFAs and they'll be the same. So I wonder how the NIL money is going to affect the draft going forward and how teams sort of operate, because I think it's going to change things a little bit in that late round, how teams operate. What do you think?
No, that's a good point. I don't have anything intelligent to add on that. I would just be bullshitting. The point, the extra thing I wanted to make was the in-game speed and movement. The problem with that is that it's not all the same. Like you can't get the point of doing scientific or any sort of like actual analysis. You have to try and get similar conditions.
That's right.
So you're dealing with teams playing indoors, outdoors, the fields this way or that way. Turf, not turf, sunshine, rain, whatever.
That's a great point.
Whereas with the combine, they make everything uniform.
That's a great
as
point.
best as possible, and everybody has to stick within that. Which is why, again, further why combine's not going anywhere. But they should add things where they make the players do all the shit in pads.
That's it.
Because I get it. People want to get amped up about a guy hitting a really high speed, which is cool. And the other thing is, in-game speed, when are you going to see a tackle run far enough straight ahead, unimpeded, to get a good judge of what his speed is?
And also, too, Kevin, your idea of making them do the drills in pads and no pads, it's a whole other argument we can have all March and April, where you could be like, I could be like, your boy ran a 4.4, and you could be like, yeah, but when they put the pads on him, it was a 4.55. And we can argue for an entire podcast over pads versus non-pad numbers. This is great. This needs to happen. Happen.
What do you know? I have good ideas from time to time.
Needs to happen. That's what I'm on. Think of the content, Thomas. Think of the content. Before Kevin comes back with a refill of his drink, I want to remind people, support the show. Go to saintshappyhour.com, become a patron. $7 a month, easy to do. It's a way for you to support the show so we can keep doing these great shows, so we keep having live shows, so we can keep Thomas fed and clothed in Poland. It's great. You should do it. Thomas, what's next?
All right, next question from Biloxi Blues. There was a report by some NFL Network guy that the Saints tried to move up to draft Penix. Almost said Penix. Does the drafting of the Rattler make that report more likely to be true?
Kevin, I don't think so. Like, I think that the Saints trading up for Penix is complete nonsense. I think what happened was Mickey Loomis made some calls because Mickey Loomis has an addiction. He has a problem. He loves to trade up, right? So he made some calls. He made some calls into the top 10, I'm sure, for, because they really liked Fashanu. I think maybe they were making calls to get Fashanu, and he fell to them because by all accounts, he was their number one tackle. So, like, Mickey Loomis making calls is not a surprise. And I think just NFL reporters or people from the Falcons who want people to believe that the Penix pick wasn't some crazy nonsense that it was, or like, hey, man, the Saints and the Raiders are doing it too. The Saints make calls into the top 10. And I mean, so you just connect the two. I don't think there's any chance the Saints were taking Penix, and I don't think it's connected to Rattler. But what and that proves that they were thinking about it. What say you, Kevin?
No, it wasn't. Oh God, it wasn't the. It wasn't the one that the Saints were looking to trade down if Bowers would have dropped. I could have swore there was another story of the Saints considering trading up or moving back down for something, and I think when I heard that, I was like, that just reeks of teams after the fact.
That's right.
Like putting out, a little bit of disinfo to confuse the situation. And like, I get it. It's after the draft. So why would teams care? But it's chess, man. It's you gotta get in people's heads before, during, and after the draft.
The thing is,
it is 365 days a year. It is 24/7, warfare, essentially.
The NFL draft is the greatest tool to give fans of all teams hope that has ever been created in the history of sports. It really is.
Yeah.
Like it's its own hopium product. The one thing I'll say about...
Wait, did you say opium or hopium?
Hopium.
Yeah, hopium. That's great.
Hopium. So the one thing I'll say about...
That's also copium.
NFL, just once, I would love an NFL team, after they made a pick, to just be like, because every team is like, we can't believe he fell. We had him rated number one. We can't believe it. It's a miracle. We're all flabbergasted. Just once, I would like a team to be like, you know what? The board it didn't really fall how we wanted it. And like, we picked 14, and like, this guy was rated 15 he's rated 14 on our board. Like, it's right in the range where we thought he would be, and we took him, and we're going to hope for the best. Like, the whole, I can't believe he fell to us. Like that it gets old and tiresome because every team in the first round at least does it over and over again. That's my one pet peeve. Just once, I'd just like to be like a team like, it didn't go so well. We picked the best guy. He's the best guy there. We don't love him, but, we got to hope for the best. Just once, Kevin, I would love a team to do it. They're never going to, though, because they have to pump up the picks beyond belief.
Yeah, that's never going to change. Like, that's never going to change. I wish I could think of a real good way to, like, doctor it up.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to be that obvious.
I mean, the only time I've ever saw, like, Sean Payton after the first round, this is the closest I've ever seen the Saints in particular come to it. I think it was like 2015 or 2016. It was the year they ended up bringing back Jari Evans after they cut him. And they brought him back like a week before the season to play guard. And a media member asked Sean Payton after they were talking about their first round pick, and they didn't pick a lineman, obviously. And they were like, well, what do you think of, they got a lot of good players left there, a lot of offensive linemen left. And Sean Payton was like, Yeah, not really. We don't like any. We didn't like. They had a couple picks late in that first round of the only guys we liked. We don't like any of the linemen left. And I was like, oh, you could see he's just disgusted that they only had like 2 or 3 linemen or guards that they liked, and they're all gone. And that's as close as I've ever seen a team like pull back the curtain and let you see into their like inner workings of the draft. But anyway, Thomas, what's next?
You know what? Let's do one bonus question from Monadula.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Of course.
The legend. He asks, will Kevin ever learn to not be pissed off after a draft?
Okay. Is there evidence that I've been pissed off like this? Because, I mean, apparently this is the thing that set everybody off. So... have I been this pissed off or mad or whatever after previous drafts?
I don't think.
Because I'm legitimately asking.
Previous drafts? Yeah,
I'm legitimately asking. I don't know. Yeah, is it a habit of me?
I remember you were very pissed at the Olave pick.
Yeah, because
I was? Okay.
You moved up. I mean, the one thing I'll say about this draft that
you know what I even maybe have evidence on my desktop. wait let me see, let's listen.
Okay. No, that I'll take you at your word if you've got video.
Thomas has got receipts.
You can't hear it. Oh wait a second, maybe now. What the hell?
Thomas had receipts, but he burned them.
No, something's not right.
No,
I know. There were three offensive tackles picked. There were 2 wide receivers. The Saints got happy feet in the pocket and started panicking. This was a panic move. This was a panic decision. I don't care if he was number 1 on their board. You wait for shit to come to you. And
are you new here, dude?
And they gave that shitbag owner of the Commanders a haul. They gave him a 3rd and a 4th to move up 5 spaces.
I know.
It's an absolute joke. An absolute joke. Olave Garden
with Michael Thomas.
Great. Olave Garden better be starting game 1. And
okay, I think that's
there
enough. I don't know, Kevin. You sounded pissed to me. Come on, man.
Yeah, good. So, but what did I say there at the end? I said he needs to be starting. He better be starting game 1, and he did.
He did.
He proved his value immediately.
I want to say this to people. Sometimes people will like DM me on Twitter or DM me on Discord, and they'll be like, Why do you pay Thomas? Like, what is he does? Because Thomas, don't take it personally. They hate all of us. Some listeners, they listen to the show, but they pick one of us that they don't like.
They hate watch us.
They hate watch us, and like there's certain people that are like, why do you pay Thomas? Well, you could do all that yourself. I mean, it's not that important. Like he doesn't. What does he add to the show? And I'm like, this is what Thomas adds. If I was doing all this myself, this show, it would probably be like one video, like Kevin would be a black screen, and I would sound like I'm talking at the bottom of the swimming pool. But this is why we pay Thomas. Like Thomas had that clip in the holster ready to go.
Good.
Me, Kevin, Andrew, we ain't doing that. Like that's why Thomas is the best.
Unscripted, guys. Unscripted.
It's amazing.
But here's my point. Will Kevin ever learn not to be pissed off after draft? Well, are the Saints going to...
That's up to Loomis.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to Loomis. That's up to the brain trust. And then, 2, it's like, hang on a second.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like the Olave thing, that's fine. Like, great. I'm glad that he started, he immediately played, and he immediately contributed, and he's right now, he's a proven commodity. He's good. Yeah. I don't care if my ranting and raving is for naught. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't need to be right. I need the football team to win.
That's right.
And to take moves and actions that would lead toward that. And when I think that they are doing things that are not conducive to winning, I am going to wag my finger and tut-tut and occasionally drop some curse words.
That's right.
At Mickey Loomis and whoever else is running the team. And here's the thing. If this draft works out, if all of these guys make the team and they start and whatever, then guess what? Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I don't mind being wrong. If it comes down to, well, the Saints are going to win, but it's going to make Kevin look bad, or it's going to prove Kevin wrong on something, the Saints should, the football team should win. I don't need to be right. I don't need to be right. If I'm right, that means the Saints suck.
Well, no, here's the thing, though, Kevin, and this is what I love. This is what I like about you, and I like about, besides the podcast, that we have different opinions. The one thing that just really annoys me about certain Saints fans on social media is I believe there's a giant chunk of Saints fans, they'd rather be right than the Saints win. Like they don't want Dennis Allen to win. They don't want Derek Carr to turn it around and the Saints to be successful. They want to be right about Dennis Allen, and they want to be right about Derek Carr, and they want the Saints to win how they want them to win. And if they don't do that, the Saints might as well lose, which that's what I like about you. You don't care if you're right or wrong. They nailed the Olave pick. Good. You also traded up for Penning and you busted it. My only thing that I disagree with you about this draft is me and you were both incredibly frustrated with the Kool-Aid trade up. But my frustration was I was just like, oh my God, they traded 2 fifths. They're going to trade up again, because if they've done it once and they do it all the time, they're going to trade up again, and they're going to burn. Maybe they'll burn a next year's 2 or a next year's 3 or a next year's 4 to move back up. And the 2025 draft is going to be decimated, and they are not in position to do that with their crummy roster. And I feared what was going to happen next, but they didn't do that. So because they didn't do that,
that doesn't mean that you have to that doesn't mean that you have to have some sort of what do you call it? It's not the Helsinki syndrome from Die Hard. It's the thing where what is it?
Stockholm syndrome?
No, Stockholm syndrome. There we go. Because that's the thing from Die Hard. It's like they couldn't call it Stockholm syndrome. They had to call it the Helsinki syndrome for whatever reason. But you sound like you are captive of oh my God, they're gonna this is just they're gonna do this, and then they didn't do this incredibly stupid thing. Thank God.
That's right.
And I guess I'm not that way.
That's right. Yeah.
We shared the same fear that they were going to trade up again and burn 2025 assets. And then when they didn't, you were elated and happy. I was just like, so you moved up 4 spots to grab a guy. Then you decided to wait 100 plus picks to go again. And had you stayed at 45, you could have used some of those assets to move a little bit higher into maybe the 4th round and grab somebody else that could have been competing
for a job,
or could have had a spot starting. Yeah. I mean, look, I pointed it out on the Big Show on Tuesday night. There were guys that had dropped even into the 5th round that were still available. Like Christian Mahogany was still available. Christian Jones, the tackle from Texas, was available at 150.
Mahogany apparently had legs that weren't the same.
And I used that to keep pounding my point that the offensive line had to be the priority, and I don't think we prioritized it enough.
That's right.
That's why I got annoyed. That's why I got pissed off.
Yeah.
And again, if Kubiak's kid comes in here and completely, the waters of life on the offensive line, and it's they're all Lasan El Gaib out there and kicking ass and all that kind of stuff. Great. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it happens, that's great because I still get to enjoy it because I want to see the team win.
Yeah,
it's not about me.
Yeah,
this is not about me. I think some fans maybe have main character syndrome, and that's whatever. That's their own thing. They can do whatever. For me, and for you guys, and for you guys at the end of the day, is the team winning? That's
my question. Here's my question to you, and I like this. It's like a business guy. He writes all these business books, and I think I've done this on the main show before. But he asked when people are making decisions and they're trying to figure out things. They should ask the question: what has to be right for us to have success? What has to be right for us to have success, or for this particular thing we want to do to work? So what has to be right for the Saints to succeed? And I believe it's the offensive line. And your take of they didn't do enough, like that is a legitimate take to have after the draft. And that's my only defense of your opinion of the draft. Like saying they didn't do enough on the offensive line. It's a legitimate take. The one thing, I guess, Kevin, is, man, they have like $9 million of cap space. Like, I just feel like and this is a different kind of topic from the draft, but I feel like they got to have one more like medium-size move on the offensive line before the summer, because this line, as currently constituted, brother, it ain't good enough.
Right. And you heard even Juge and Dave said things to the effect of that there are still holes in places.
Yeah.
That this position still needs help. Mm-hmm. Now they didn't come out and say, "Oh yeah, Kevin was 100% correct." It's like, no. Mm-hmm. But the overall point that I've been trying to make, people are y'all are there in just different ways.
Yeah.
I'm just very forceful and direct and in your face about it. That's it. And hey, you can think I'm a stark raving lunatic about it. You can think I'll never be happy or I'll never be satisfied or whatever. I assure you, when the season starts and if the Saints are winning, I will be happy.
That's right.
Okay? I will be happy. Yeah. Look, our job is to talk about it. And sure, we'll find things, be like, Derek Carr, he went 19 for 25, but he only threw for 230, but he threw for 2 touchdowns. The offensive line kept him upright, blah, blah, blah. We'll find things to nitpick or whatever. But overall, if the Saints are winning, guess what the vibes are going to be? Good.
Here's my thing with the Saints is I wonder, you probably don't obsess or think about this as much, even though you are the president of the Trade Down Association. I have to say, the fact that the Saints apparently had a trade locked and loaded with the Rams for Brock Bowers if he had fallen to 14, Kevin, I just think about that like sliding doors, right? I just have been thinking about that constantly ever since I found that out, because to me, that is just not that Fuaga is going to be bad and it could work out like you say and all this, but man, that road where you would have just fleeced the Rams for Brock Bowers and got a ton of picks, that would have been a really interesting door to open, and I know I should just let it go. But
I let that surprisingly Mr. hangs on to a grudge for life. I let that go.
You let it go because you're just like, well, he wasn't. The Raiders picked him. It was gone.
I've moved forward from that. Now, don't get me wrong. This time next year, I'll probably bring it up, or it'll probably come up. But I'm not obsessing over it or really thinking about it all that much. I got to worry about the here and now and what's in front of me.
I think we might need to cut a diss track. Like we need to go at Loomis, like Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I think we might need to.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. If there's people who should cut a diss track against anybody, it should be 4 middle-aged white guys.
Saying.
One of whom, and
who can barely pronounce names.
Yeah, four of the whitest people imaginable. And then the other guy from Poland.
I want to put.
Why is that quality so terrible? It does not sound like that on my phone.
We need to put Mickey Loomis on notice. Get in the booth. Thomas, what's next?
That's all, man.
That's all. So this has been fun, and I want to say this, Kevin.
Yeah.
I feel I have good vibes for the Saints for 2024, not based on their offseason and not really based on their draft. But I have really good vibes for the 2024 Saints based on the sheer weirdness and potential incompetence of the Falcons. Like, I feel like they're drafting Michael Penix. When was the last time an NFL team drafted a dude in the top 10 and was like, we're drafting this quarterback in the top 10. Everyone is asking us, what the hell are you doing? And the team and not everyone else was proven right. I can't think, I mean, maybe Josh Allen, kinda, but even then, people were like, well, I understand it. Buffalo, they need a quarterback.
Right.
So that gives me as much hope as whatever the Saints have done this offseason. Like the fact that I think Atlanta doesn't know what they're doing and they've done something really stupid. Like that makes me excited for the 2024 season more so than anything the Saints have done.
Right. That was a question on the big show. It was like, what are you what are you happier about or more excited about, or what do you think is more likely or what are you rooting for or something like that? It was either the Saints, or it was, what are you more confident in? The Saints having success in the 2024 regular season, or the Falcons imploding in the 2024 season? It was the Falcons imploding.
Here, I have a question for you. Would Spencer Rattler becoming a Hall of Fame quarterback in the same draft that the Falcons picked Michael Penix and the same offseason that they paid Kirk Cousins $100 million, would Spencer Rattler becoming a Hall of Fame quarterback for the Saints, would that be the funniest, most enjoyable crapping on the Falcons we could ever do? Would it top 28-3 for us as Saints fans? I think it might.
Nothing. I can't fathom what would top 28-3. I really can't.
I mean, Michael Penix being terrible. And in like 5 years, Spencer Rattler.
But that's a draft pick. He's gone in 4 years, 5 tops. If he's terrible, like Kirk Cousins, they're going to have to ride that out for a little bit. I mean, the thing about it is, the Super Bowl is forever. Yeah. The Super Bowl is forever. Mm-hmm. If Spencer Rattler, and look. I wasn't happy with the Spencer Rattler pick. When we were all asked on Tuesday, what was your least favorite pick? I jumped on Spencer Rattler. Mm-hmm. If Spencer Rattler becomes the starter and is great and becomes a Hall of Famer, he didn't have to become a Hall of Famer. If he's just really good for like 10 years as a Saint, and we all feel comfortable with him as the quarterback, be like, hey, man, Spencer Rattler, man, this team's got a fighting chance still. Great. I want that. And yeah, that would be hilarious that a 5th-round quarterback pick became the leader of the team while the Falcons are, running around like the Keystone Cops trying to figure out who their starter is. That would be great. I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. Again, I don't need to be right. The Saints just need to be good and win.
Yeah,
that's it. And if it makes the Falcons look bad in the process, even better.
I gotta say, I want the Saints to win, but the Falcons being awful and humiliated and firing everyone really soon because of the Penix debacle would be just chef's kiss. I know that makes me a bad person. I should prioritize the Saints winning above all else, and I do. But Falcon misery is really important to me. I'm not gonna lie. So guys, thanks for joining us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, comment on it, and find Saints Happy Hour wherever you get your podcast. Thanks to Kevin for joining me. Thanks to Thomas, best producer in the world, running the show back in Poland. I'm Ralph. Until next time, the bar is closed.